Hello and welcome to a bonus edition of Sports Talk Philadelphia here on LaSalle TV. I'm your host, Josh Abrams, and alongside Kevin and Tegan, we have a new panelist, Dave Roberts, down there. And we're going to talk some Sixers. Let's look at the standings, guys. All 8 playoff teams are set. It's just a matter of seeding, and that goes for 3 all the way down to 8. As you can see, the Sixers and the Cavs are both 48 and 30. And I'm going to skip right ahead and go right to what I think is arguably the biggest game of the season, of the entire season for the Sixers, coming up tomorrow against the Cavs. I think that game is going to determine the 3rd seed, but nevertheless, we're on a 12-game winning streak, something we haven't done in almost 30 years. How do you guys feel right now?
Pretty good. It's pretty. I think that the way that this team's been playing, I'm happy with how they've been gelling lately. The shooters have been playing well, and you got good leadership out of Redick, Bellinelli, and Ilyasova. Redick's been just on an absolute tear lately. He had, I think they said he scored over 19 points for the first in 6 consecutive games for the first time in his career. So all of those players are playing well. Robert Covington and Sarge, before he got a little nicked up, we're all playing well as well. And if that continues to be the case and Joel comes back and you get a good center in there, then I do think that this team can compete with, Cleveland and Toronto.
I don't know. I mean, I'm a little scared because it is LeBron James. He is the king, and but I'm not that worried because they've been very shaky this whole season. And I know the last couple of games they have been dominating the last couple. Well, not they. LeBron has been dominating the last couple of games. So
the team itself.
Yeah, yeah. So the way I see it is, if we can just stop LeBron, I feel like we can actually control whatever happens in the game on Friday.
No matter what, no matter what happens on Friday night, though, I'm content with how they've performed, because the fact that if we lose to Cleveland, we get the team that I'd probably rather face, which is Indiana. At least that's the way it's going to line up right now.
I think that's how a lot of people are feeling.
I'd rather play Indiana than Miami. Miami's been on a tear lately. They just got D-Wade back, and they've been playing very well, and you don't want to play D-Wade in the playoffs. Just as much as I don't want to play LeBron in the playoffs, you don't really want to play D-Wade in the playoffs. So I think that if we lose to Cleveland, I'm okay with that. Yeah. If we beat them, though, obviously that I'll be happy about that too, because then that shows that we can compete with them in a 7-game series.
Yeah, the one thing I was going to say about the Cleveland game is I think our team itself is more talented top to bottom than the Cavs are, and I think that's shown throughout the year. I think we have better players on the team. But like Dave was saying earlier, LeBron is LeBron, and he's going to do what LeBron wants to do. It's going to be a tough test for Covington or Simmons or whoever it is that ends up having to guard him. But if you can limit him, you can win a game or a series against the Cavs. It's not out of the realm of possibility for sure. And
he doesn't have as much help as we're used to seeing LeBron have. Right. So if that is the case, like you're saying, it's not that far. I honestly do believe that if we get the right matchup in the first round, we could move on to the next, and I could see this team making a deep playoff push, and that even includes finals. And depending on who we play in the finals, I don't mind our matchups. If we play Houston in the finals, I think that's a beatable team. Houston has a lot of inexperienced players in the playoffs, just as much as we do. They've been around a lot longer, but they haven't really had much success there.
Exactly, and I think the fact that we've been on such a tear lately, we haven't lost since I think the very early stages of March.
12 straight, first time since 90.
90.
Okay, there you go.
The fact that we're getting hot so late in the season, it's kind of like what Miami did last year, except we're going to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about the Pistons game the other day. Obviously, it really stinks that we don't have Joel Embiid. We don't know when he's going to come back necessarily, but you look at those numbers there. J.J. Redick had, as you mentioned earlier, how much of a tear he's been on. 25 points on 10 of 13 shooting and just on fire from beyond the arc. And then Marco Bellinelli, as he usually does, comes off the bench, scores 19, provides that spark and that hot shooting and 3 steals there. just great defense. Bellinelli, he's played in 24 games with us so far. He's scored in double digits in 20 of those games, and the Sixers are 20-5 since we got him. Talk about these additions and how important they're going to be come playoff time.
I'll just talk about Bellinelli real quick. I've said it before on the show. I think it's kind of crazy that you can get a player like Bellinelli on the free agent wire after a team just up and cuts him in the middle of a season. Bellinelli's the type of guy, he reminds me of the Ray Allen guy from when he was on the Heat, when he made that game-winning shot against the Spurs in the finals. I think that every team needs a guy that, when it comes down to it, is a role player that can knock down a big three. And Bellinelli is absolutely that kind of a player. You got to love a pickup like that, especially with his production going right now.
And more than that, he's also been the guy that, you want him out there at the end of the game because he can knock down a free throw. I mean, he's second or third in the NBA in free throw percentage.
Yeah, 91.
Yeah. So and to go along with that's J.J. Redick, another guy. The two of them have been playing just off the charts. Joel goes down, and it looks like there's going to be a little bit of an issue finishing out the season. I remember thinking myself, I don't know if they're going to get to 50. When Joel went down, I think they had 42 or 43. Well,
somewhere around
these guys picked up the pieces. It doesn't even look like we lost, Joel, because we're still winning by 20, 30 points a game. That might not be the end final, but that's because, Furkan Korkmaz is playing 10 minutes for the fourth quarter. So, but I mean, everything's clicking for this team right now, and I know that they're playing teams that are not in the playoffs. But a good team beats teams that they're better than, and the way that Ben Simmons played over this stretch, he's got a number of triple-doubles. He's averaging a triple-double. It's an impressive showing from a bunch of players who people thought wouldn't be ready for this.
Yeah, I mean, I just agree with both of y'all. I mean, because it's nice, like you guys said, it's nice to see role players come in and including since we had literally our star go down, step up in such a big way, including this momentum that we have, that I think seeing that happen now is a really big push for what's going to happen in the first round of the playoffs.
And one of the biggest role players that we're going to need is Dario Saric coming back healthy. I think he's fine. I think now it's almost at the point where it's just going to be a little bit of rest just to get him ready for the playoffs, because he's played so hard during the regular season. But if it comes down to Toronto or Cleveland, and maybe even in the first round if we get matched up with Indiana, or if we have to play Washington with Wall, Dario Saric is going to play a key role in that series because of the fact that he's going to be he's our third option. And I don't know if those teams are deep enough to stop the number 3 for us. Obviously, they're gonna focus on Joel Embiid in the middle, and they're going to focus on Simmons on ball. And Dario Saric is going to have the chance to honestly earn his next check. And that's what I'm worried about, is for the future. But we'll have to put that on hold for a couple of years before it happens. Yeah, and as Joel Embiid goes down, we are seeing somewhat of an emergence of Markelle Fultz, which is something we've been waiting for a very, very long time this season. He came back on the latter stages of March against Denver, had a pretty solid game with 10 points and 8 assists. He's played in 6 games so far, and he scored in double digits, 10 points in 3 of those 6. How much of a contribution, or how important of a role is he going to play for this team when you think about the depth of the Sixers?
I don't know. I feel like he's gonna be the real quiet guy that puts up a quiet 15 in the playoffs somehow. I don't know. I feel like him coming back, I really actually didn't expect much. I was expecting him just to shoot a lot of shots just so he could feel how to shoot again and how to just play the game. So I mean, I feel like he is gonna, and he is getting comfortable again. So I feel like he is gonna be that guy just to put up a couple points just to help us out a little bit more. Yeah, I think like Dave just said, he's not going to be a role player to the extent that Redick or Bellinelli are that we are talking about, but he's a guy that we hope the future is bright for him, and obviously he's going to contribute something in the playoffs, and whatever that something is, it's a benefit for the Sixers. Yeah.
This is actually the pickup that I thought that they needed to make at the deadline. They needed a 6-man, and that's what he's coming off the bench to do for us right now. We haven't really seen him shoot any 3 balls yet, and the free throw still looks a little herky-jerky, but in-game shots look smooth, and that's what matters most right now. And he's going to be playing the backup point guard And as long as he's not turning the ball over, then I think that everything's going to be fine for them.
Yeah, definitely safe to say that out of all 3 active Philly sports teams right now, the Sixers are definitely the ones that we're looking up to the most. But we thank you for joining us for this bonus edition of Sports Talk Philadelphia with the Sixers. It wasn't boring at all. Everyone enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you next week.